organisms from the planet Cybertron. My name is Optimus Prime. Robotic organisms from the planet Cybertron. My name is Optimus
Prime. This song is so funny, man. Oh my god. It's so funny. My name is Optimus Prime. Minnesota! Max, look up Edgehog on YouTube for Shadow the Hedgehog Screamo. No. This is going too far. No. I gotta turn this shit off. It is like, it's so bad. Won our playoff game last night. Did you watch any Four Nations? Yeah. Did Canada beat the US? Yeah, they did. It was a great game. It was so fun. Leaving McDavid alone in the slot is a choice. Hockey's a fast game. Diagnosing it in that situation is probably a mistake. Like, the double in the corner kind of makes sense from that angle. He's also kind of defending it with the angle. He just made like a really good pass. What is it? Yeah, I think if I'm Austin Matthews, I trust Adam Fox to take Marner, and I can stay on the best player in the world. I mean, yeah, but I just think it's so easy to watch replays of things versus understanding how fast those decisions are made in a hockey game. Also, the center position on defense is very interesting. A lot of times, as a center, you are helping more in the corners than you are if there's only one guy in the slot. Although there was one guy in the net. He was definitely a misplay, but There's a lot of non-hockey fans talking about hockey, and they're like, "Oh, that guy, what are you doing? How could you do that?" But it's like, you could easily do that. Hockey's very fast. Why so early? The only reason it's so early is because I have a shoot today at Team Liquid at 2. And I needed to get this done yesterday, and I didn't, so I have to get it done today. And then tomorrow we're going to do DPS. But I need to get tanks and healers done ahead of time, or else I'll blow up. And die. And blow up. Bennington is the story of the night. Dude, so true. Bennington was getting shit all week. Everyone in Canada's like, our goaltending sucks. Bennington fucking sucks. Bench Bennington. Fuck Bennington. And he's played fine the whole tournament. And then he just played great. I'm glad he succeeded. Max, are you going to bring in Kazakh for Frosty K or just Taznak? Well, I've never heard the name Kazakh ever before. But I'm down to meet new people. I always bring in Taznak, though. He's really smart. Is it viable to have a second raid group that covers the night shift while the main group is asleep? That way y'all don't wake up to a gotcha moment. I have no idea. What the fuck is a gotcha moment? And no, that's not a real thing. If you went to bed on Ansarek, and then you brought in the night shift as everyone else went into bed and they got to continue pressing Ansarek, they would just spend the whole night not even getting back to where you were already, and then you'd wake up and take their spots, and what would they learn? You wouldn't do anything. It's the different players, right? You'd make zero. You would do zero extra progression by doing that. Also, either they'd get in trouble for account sharing or have to do a million more splits. Yeah, true. Did you already do DPS? No, DPS is tomorrow. I guess I could put that in my title. Oh my god. I think this is my favorite video game track ever. Right here. I'm gonna turn this bitch up. Have you thought about doing 2 mythic lockouts week 1? Maybe at the end of the week you do an extra run, but like the whole time? No, I mean, if you wanted to just instantly lose the race, yeah. Do you know that your voice to music ratio is 90 to 10? Yep, that's intentional. Nobody ever hears the music. Sure they do. Max, please don't do me like yesterday. I was behind 2 hours on your stream, so you debated me for an additional 2 hours. Okay. I guess a gotcha moment would be like waking up to a boss already dead or waking up to some nerf that completely changes the fight or something. Yeah, but having an extra raid group raid when you're asleep wouldn't change anything. Like let's say they had a gotcha moment where a boss was nerfed and instantly killable when we're asleep, but then our other team won't be as far as us, so they won't be able to kill it. Like, the whole 2 progressing raid team things, it's just nonsense. Damn, you're a sneaky one. Am I? I feel like I'm in a really obvious spot. What if you bought Echo and just had both teams racing for liquid? Well, that wouldn't be very fun. Do you think Method has a better shot this raid? Bro, I have no idea how prepared Method is. I have no clue. There's no... How do you want me to answer that question? Like, what's the intended answer? Do you think Method has a better shot this raid? Like, do you want me to say... Well, yes, they do, and here's why. But what could be the here's why? Like, how could I know? You know? What do you mean? Sko seems confident. I mean, dude, I hope they're good, but like Sko seemed confident last raid where he said the other guilds are going to be the ones following our preparation this expansion, and then they just got banned the day after you said that. What do you mean? Dude, part of me hopes Method wins the race world first just so you guys never fucking ask me that shit again. And not because it, like, offends me that you're suggesting anyone else could win, because obviously they could. But it's just, like, it's an impossible question to answer. It makes no sense. Max, how do you think this other guild is going to do in the race? Bro, how? How could I fucking know? That's just such a dumb question. Sko just trying to hype up his guild? Yeah, you should. Yeah. I'm not mad, by the way. It may sound like I'm mad. I'm just... Yeah, I'm chilling. I'm feeling great. How would you feel when the other team win? Bad. So, that's one thing I can say for sure. When you do this, winning feels pretty sweet, and losing feels way worse. Losing feels significantly worse. Also, first place wins more money. No, there's no money. Losing feels worse than winning feels good. I don't know if that's true. Actually, I think that is true. I think losing feels worse than winning feels good. You've said it yourself in the past. Yeah, but I don't like remember that. I don't ever like plan to say anything. I just like rip it off the dome and then forget about it. You've definitely said that in the past. Yeah, I mean, like it depends on the race maybe too. Like Razageth, like I promise you, I've never felt anything in my life that felt like what it felt like to lose on Razageth. Like walk into the facility and just seeing a guild one-shot a boss after they nerfed the fuck out of it. Like that is an indescribable feeling, and it wasn't even purely bad. It was just like a you got fucked feeling. And that feels bad because the end result is you lose. There's no other way around it, but that was a weird feeling. At this point, you would have to learn... Would you even learn anything new from losing? Yeah, I mean... every tier you win or you lose, you get better. You do things wrong and good during the race. It's a little easier to do... It's a little easier to get better when you lose, if we're being honest. Because you can... Like, things that went wrong are way more... They have, like, a highlight on them. They have, like, a spotlight on them when you lose. But, like, sometimes you can do things wrong and win, and you're less likely to point them out and improve on them. Because it's like, well, it worked, you know? But winning's, like, a really binary thing. Winning doesn't mean everything you did was right. So you kind of have to try way harder to get better after you win. What was your biggest point of focus to improve on after Nub EP? I don't even remember. A lot of stuff. We went over it months ago. Maybe the fact that I don't immediately... Well, I also wouldn't just tell you. But I would have to think of it. The thing is, in Nerebar Palace, we kind of fucking owned. But this is kind of the problem, right? When I'm telling you, like... You know, it's easy to... You know, the fact that I don't remember it, you know. All right, 1 second. Be right back. Hello. Oh, that's so cold in here. Fuck. I cannot wait to the race world last. Isn't that? It's next Monday, not this Monday, right? It's the day before the race. Minnesota. You should do a liquid group stream watching it. Could do. Alright, I have bad news, boys. I messaged Dratnos and Dork about doing this. And they're not responding to me, but we can start with healers and hope they show up. We can find a bunch of healers. Do you have a list of who you're talking to? No. We can make one, though. If you guys want to. I'm down. Rewrite with AI. Wait, really? How do I do that? So, what if I wanted to rewrite this with AI? What would it say? not nearby. Instead of not close. Okay, I didn't rewrite anything. WAI. By the way, what I just did right there was the first time I have on purpose interacted with AI ever. I've never used it before. That was crazy. AI is insanely cool. Wow. Okay. So, what I want to do turn this shit down for one. Okay. Is this specifically for the raid or overall? It's overall. It's not for raid or Mythic Plus. It's just in general. So what do we want to talk about for each person? So obviously, put it on the list. That's the last one. But then it's like, I don't want to ask what's changed anymore because, like, when you ask people what's changed between last patch and this patch, sometimes they just talk for like fucking 15 minutes and it's just too much. More like you know, what exactly is your class good and bad at relative to other classes? No, I don't like any of this stuff. Oh, that's a good one. How many will be in Race World first comp? Is it in the Mythic Plus meta? And what is the class good at and bad at? I like that. Is it fun to play? I mean, the people... You can give them like a short time to talk about the class. Yeah. Explain it in NBA terms. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of gamers would get that. I also have to be done with this in an hour, so... We'll get going. I mean, it's pretty easy, man. Poor planning again. Nah, I know what I'm doing. Kinda. An hour, 0 chance. I mean, usually the tanks and healers are done by the same people, so it's usually pretty quick. The DPS is much longer. Here, I mean, let's look even. Here we go. So this is 4 hours long. How long did it take me to go through just tanks and healers? Okay, an hour and 40 minutes. Oh, shit. Okay, but like... We called so many individual people, though. I mean, it can take 2 hours, though. I don't care. I just have to be somewhere at 2. And they want me to come in a little early, but I have something to do today, so... Okay. Call Yoda and Dorky and let them brawl for tanks. Dorky's not responding to me. So I have to start with a healer. Let me see if Automatic Jack's around. Talk healers today. Let's message Megaset. Talk healers today. And yeah, we'll start with healers then. Fuck it. Alright, we need to find the actual... Is it tier maker? It's pretty early in the day for gamers. Weird. Megaset already responded to me. Get mad. What is this? Tier Maker Live most voted. Anime Girls Smasher Pass. Ultimate Anime Waifu Smasher Pass. Smasher Pass all Pokemon. Alright. Why not? Okay. WoW classes, and that'll work. Is this gonna have every... I guess it would just be like AUG is missing. Oh, that's what took so long with my previous one, dude. My previous video, didn't I not even rank... Didn't I not even rank the specs? I literally ranked all of the hero talents. So I think, like, if I called a DK, I would have them rank, you know, Sand Lane and Riders or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it took way longer. Okay, this is gonna be fucking pissed, dude. This is easy, dude. Holy. Guys, we're easily getting done with this in an hour. Or 2. Alright. Well, we're not doing any tanks or any healers today. Or, oh my god, any DPS today. Sorry, my brain is cooked. My brain is cooked. Let's do put all the tanks up here. All the healers up here. Alright, W. Alright, Megaset's the only person who have responded to me, so... Looks like we'll be starting with, Bear? What about Bear? Oh. Yeah, I mean, I'm doing tanks after I made sure I was done with healers. Rename F tier. No, we're good. I mean, yeah, there's a few extra tiers here actually. Can remove E. What's the top tier? We usually add some tiers on the bottom. I mean, we can just keep it natty. What you guys want to do? Deep dick dolly dumpster? That's such a stupid fucking thing, though. Oh, dude, bottom tier's Walmart tier. Oh, no, yeah. 5 big booms. You're so right. Dude, 5 big booms is sick. Dude, this actually kind of... There's something even, like, deeper about this tier list. Because 5 big booms is S, and Walmart... No, the EU mind cannot comprehend what I'm about to say. But, like, 5 big booms is a Costco thing, and Walmart's affiliate is Sam's Club. So it's also saying, like, Walmart greater than Sam's Club... Or, Costco greater than Sam's Club. There's some hidden meaning in this shit. Minnesota! Alright, well... I don't know if Jack... So, I was gonna think of calling, like, a... I mean, I could call Megaset for Mistweaver. I could call Jack for Priest. I don't want to call, like, 1 million people, though. I kind of want a couple people to just do all of them. Because that's faster. Jack's doing PTR keys. Well... Jack said he didn't get a DM from you, but he will do it after his key. Oh! I sent it to some random guy named Jack. I'm not kidding. I don't know who this is. Guys, I don't know who the fuck this is. I just typed Jack. Whoever this is, come on the stream. Whoever it is, get in here. I mean, might as well get his opinion just in case. I don't know if he plays WoW or heals. But... Alright, W shit. Calling up Megaset. Oh yeah, wait, before. One big disclaimer, guys. And I don't even know why I'm making this, because some of you use it as this anyway. But, like, kind of the point of this content is, like, you want to hear, like, what the class is good and bad at, I guess. And I don't know. It's just a fucking tier list, man. Don't take it too seriously. I'm not telling you what I think is good. I'm letting the community tell you what they think is good. And it could all change and be wrong. So pick whatever class is the most fun for you and also blow up. All right, starting it up. Hello?
Hey.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Is this early for you, by the way?
No, it's noon.
Okay, don't...
I mean, no.
Yeah, don't throw the, okay, it's noon in there, because that's early for some of us. Okay, so... all right, so... I want to hear about Mistweaver Monk. You're the first person I'm calling. And I want to hear, like, where Mistweaver's at right now. Is it fun to play? And then I can kind of lead you in some other areas, but like, what's Mistweaver looking like in 11.1 right now?
It's a ton of fun. Mostly for keys. I don't tend to like the raid builds as much, but in keys it's a blast. A lot of our issues from season 1 got fixed, so like our single target problem isn't really a thing anymore. And then raid, I don't want to say that it changed, because like we kind of do the same thing. It's just different for the Mistweaver playing it. Like your raiders aren't gonna know that something changed with Mistweaver, but your Mistweaver will know. So
Okay.
there's nothing like super drastic with raid being different.
All right. And what do you think in general Mistweaver is good at as a healer that other healers lack, and then maybe also something that you think they're really weak at that they could get better at that other healers are better at, respectively.
I think it's kind of the same problem that I don't want to call it a problem, but
It doesn't
kind of
even
the
have to
same
be
thing
new,
that
by
we
the
always
way.
have.
This doesn't even need to be a new problem. It can be something that's always existed that you want to bring light to.
Yeah, we're the healer, right? Like we don't bring. I mean, we bring Mystic Touch, but it's not like a raid buff necessarily, I guess. So we have to have high throughput in order to be brought. Otherwise, you're just going to bring something else that can do similar throughput, but also brings, rescue or him or barrier or whatever.
Okay.
So I think we're in a good spot in terms of throughput. I think that our HPS is good, but I don't necessarily think that we're like super ridiculous or OP or anything. I think we're strong, and I think that we're strong in a way that is good because we're healing, obviously. The healing numbers are there this time.
Okay. Well, so I have two questions for you before I rate it. Is it do you think that this class will be two things, like in the Mythic Plus meta, like this is the healer in the comp you bring, and then secondary, is this in Mythic Plus? Do you think it's bringable, like it's not something you would avoid to bring something else, and that can be due to a lot of things like class balance, but also like some dungeon sets have a ton of like curse dispels and things where like classes that can't do that are weak. I don't know how much you've looked into that, but like where do you think Mistweaver will? How do you think it'll feel in dungeons next season?
I think it'll be really similar to how it was in, I think, Dragonflight Season 3, where Mistweaver had high representation among high-level keys, but the highest keys were still done by Resto Druid. I think in this case, it'll be Mistweaver doing high keys, a lot of them good representation, but maybe Disc Priest will still do, like, the world first or the highest keys. So I don't think that it's bad to bring them, and I think that it's still a super viable option, but I don't think it'll be the absolute best.
So you think in Mythic Plus specifically, the raid buff issue is bigger than it is in raid?
Yeah, when we bring Mystic Touch and most melee don't actually do physical damage, that kind of blows a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of Mistweaver's damage is actually also not physical, it's nature from Crackling Jade and from our debuff that we have. So that kind of sucks, but then you're also competing with Fort Buff and PI, with Disc Priest specifically.
Yeah, you could, I mean, like Shadow Priest could be meta, then that's not a thing, and then that opens up some areas. But then also Resto Druid has like Mark of the Wild, right? So like unless you're just kind of, it's just one of those examples where like Mystic Touch is, you will always bring a monk in any raid comp, but like it's just when you only bring 5 players, it doesn't stack up to the other ones for sure.
Yeah, it's like a fake. I don't want to say it's fake, but it's just definitely not as impactful as the others.
Okay, and I'm going to ask you something for your opinion on it's a little bit out of like I know you don't really care that much about rating, but I am asking everyone, how many of the spec you're talking about do you think will be in the Race to World First comp that kills the last boss? So Mistweaver monks, how many do you think are in the raid?
I think at least one. I'd be really surprised if there wasn't one. Some people
Oh, wow.
mentioned 2, and I think that's not necessary. I don't really see a world where you bring 2 Mistweavers unless our throughput is so beyond everyone else that it just doesn't compete. I don't think you need 2. So just one.
Why is that? What makes you think to? I mean, it's like just say like throughput is great, but like what do you think it's like working at a disadvantage? Does it not have like raid buffs that other classes have, or like raid cooldowns, externals? Like what makes you think that 2 is like not great?
I just don't think that we're at a point where the raid is tuned to the point where you would need 2 Mistweavers for throughput, and we're also not far enough ahead where Mistweaver would be the other choice for healing, because you could bring something else that does something similar but also brings like all the other utility that other healers have.
Yeah, and I guess like Mistweaver's powered barrier, Mistweaver's aura mastery is kind of revival, and there are fights where that is amazing and fights where it's just like a healing cooldown, right? So okay, yeah, I get it. All right, so we got that one monk. I mean, even seeing one monk confidently though is still like that's a pretty good thing. It's not like most raids you wouldn't feel like, oh, there will be one of these in the comp. That means you feel like it's pretty strong, which is good. It's very rare you actually run 2 of any healer. Like if you look at it historically, it's like super broken disc, super broken holy paladin, or most recently super broken prez, right? Like 2 of something is crazy strong. Okay, you got to put it on the list. So the top one is 5 big booms, and the bottom one is Walmart, and then there's a bunch of ones in between.
I don't think we're 5 big booms big. I think we're definitely A. We're definitely good. but I don't know if you have someone that maybe doesn't like Mistweaver, if they would play something else and do better on it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I
When
don't
you
think
just
it's-
said 5 big booms, it's just so fucking good. It's so funny. Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is for also rated Mythic Plus combined, and it's kind of a meme, so not super important. But basically, it's a rating where, like, if you're a Mistweaver, you're feeling happy going into the patch. You're feeling good.
Yeah, we're feeling good.
All right.
I don't think we're gonna get nerfed. I don't think we necessarily need buffs or anything, so I'm happy.
All right. Happy class. All right. Great to talk to you, Meg.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Bye. All right. I think we're gonna call automatic Jack. See if he's still doing a key. No lovey. Oh shit, I forgot. I mean, we don't have to do that every time, you know.
Oh.
He's still in a.
There's obviously the annoyance
Bro.
when it comes to the minecart.
He's at the
Like our
beginning
point,
of a key.
you know.
He just started the
But,
key.
I feel like there's bigger concerns, you know.
I just.
So I was actually.
I messaged him 8 minutes ago and I said healer talk after key, and he said KK.
And so
Let me
I didn't
tell
put
me.
official,
Tell me if you guys think.
but it's almost the
Tell me
same
if you
as-
guys think something's missing here. 12 p.m. This was 9 minutes ago. Healer talk after key. Okay. What does that timer say? Hold on. Let me fucking enhance this timer. I don't know if I can see it right. Oh, that's... Wait, that's fucking weird. Let's look at the starting time, maybe? Oh. Oh, we just started it. All right, I'm mad. I'm mad. Okay, well, fuck. Well, now we have to talk about tanks or healers. And no tanks or healers are around, that, to my knowledge. So, we could... I mean, let's just try... I could call the other Jack, the random guy. Max is calling... You guys, don't do this. Max is calling on a stream. Max is mad. Max is upset. Okay, I'm not even that mad. I'm not... I'm kind of mad, but I'm not even that mad. DPS time? Yeah, I am getting some DPS calling me, but I don't want to get into all that. I'd rather just do the DPS all day tomorrow. God damn it. Wait, he called... Bro, what are you... Aren't you in a key right now?
What's up? Yeah, you said after the key.
Yeah,
And
but
I was
then...
like, okay.
But then you started a key after...
So you like messaged me right as we were resetting the key, and then I was like, oh, okay, he's doing like other stuff. We can do it right now if you want.
Well, okay, so I already did Mistweaver, but what healers do you feel confident answering these questions? So, like, generally, what is the class good and bad at? Is it in the do you think it's in the Mythic Plus meta, and how many do you think will be in the Race World First Comp? What healers do you think you can cover of that?
I can talk to whatever. Yeah, I've been playing all of them in keys.
All right, fuck yeah, that's significantly more convenient for me. So you've been playing them all in keys, and then obviously you pay attention to raid testing. I saw you made a YouTube video recently about which ones you thought would be good in raids, so you've thought about all of this. Do you agree with Megaset's Mistweaver thing? She said that it feels bad in dungeons because their raid buff isn't good enough compared to other healers like Priest and Druid, but they do good damage, they do a lot of throughput. She thinks one of them will be in the Race World First, and she ranked it in A, and the only higher tier is 5 big booms. So she thinks it's pretty good. Do you like roughly agree with that?
Yeah, I would say the thing that makes it feel, I don't know, like not the most amazing in keys is the fact that you kind of are like almost resource bound. You kind of run out of juice after a certain point. So after, you know, your Shayloons at max stacks is expended, or your Celestial at max stacks or your Celestial is expended, you can't really like light your mana bar on fire and do really good AoE healing. It's like decent. But Druid as like an inverse to that, you could just keep on stacking more and more and more hots over and over and over again to be able to like push through in like really high healing environments like Swamp Face, which is the third boss in Floodgate, which is just like all rot damage and a little bit of burst.
Okay.
So you can just like keep on like pumping through. So,
okay. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so I have a question. Can you... Let me pull up your stream again. Can you... Every single time we talk about a new healer, can you increase the speed on your treadmill by like
If you spell my
0.2?
name right.
Oh, come on, don't do that.
Okay. Well, it only goes to like 4 miles an hour.
Well, what is it now?
2.1.
That's fine. So when we're talking about the last healer, I want that shit on 4.
All right, bet. Hang on, let me go to voice activation. Be holding on for dear life to the desk.
Okay. That's good.
Okay.
All right,
All right,
well,
bet. I'm ready.
let's start with the healers you play the most. Let's start with Holy Priest. So, what do you think
Okay.
And I don't want to, this is not supposed to be like super in depth, like talking like
just
hella
quick.
in depth. It's yeah, kind of quick, but like what do you think Holy Priest is good and bad at compared to other healers?
It's really good at raid, and it basically provides spot healing plus just consistent healing. They reworked it so you're in Apotheosis, which is like your cooldown for almost half the fight, if not more. And so you can do some like combo burst AoE when you need to, and then the rest of the time you're just doing good single target healing, evening out health bars.
Okay, great. And also I think they got a cheat death this patch too, right? Like a real
Yes.
like you
It
go
doesn't cost you output. It was always on the talent tree, but it would cost you output. But yeah, you survive all the mechanics, you should never die, and you just pipe lots of healing.
Yeah, I mean any class gaining a cheat death basically, which is if you didn't take it before and now you take it, you gained it, right? So
Yeah.
I mean that's any class in the game that would be if you look at any class on like death meters on Warcraft logs, although Holy Priest famously screw up that entire chart because of the way Angel Form works and everything, but like if you look at the classes that don't do that, if you gain a cheat death, your deaths get cut in like half in a raid. It's fucking broken. So very, very good for Holy, and then they're good at raid. Okay, cool. What do you think Holy Priest is in the Mythic Plus meta next season?
Not at all. No, nowhere close.
Okay, what about raid?
Very much world first. Yeah.
So you think there will be one Holy Priest in the Race World First comp?
Yep.
Well, Priest is weird because like you could say there's like
Right.
2 Holy or 2 Disc, and like there could be fights where it's the same 2 players on the same 2 characters that just swap specs, so it's like less hard to commit to. It could be either.
Yeah. I think if, like we were in a world where Disc and Holy didn't share like a class or something, it would very much be in the conversation of like you could bring one of those on its own merit and its own value. There's very much going to be some fights that you could double Disc on, but there's definitely some fights where you'd have that second Disc switch to Holy, and they're not there just because they could sometimes play Discs. They're there because Holy and Race would be good.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. Where would you put Holy on the list? Mythic Plus
That's tough
and raid.
because because this is a cumulative list, right?
It has to
So-
it has to stand on its own. It is standing apart from Discipline Priest.
I guess like B. Yeah.
B for Holy Priest. Okay. All right, we're
Yeah.
moving on to the next healer. Turn that shit up. I'm watching you
All
live.
right.
Turn it up.
Let's hear it. Do you
Yeah,
hear
yeah.
it?
Fucking heard the beats.
All
We're
right.
good. We're good. All right. Moving on to Disc Priest. What is Disc?
Okay.
Disc has seen like probably the most changes of any healer in the last like 6 months, maybe a year or so. So like, what is Disc
Right.
like right now?
Disc is insane at burst healing. It just absolutely crushes it whenever there is burst AoE that's required for your team. And just like we had with the Holy conversation, they also gained a talent that they usually didn't take in raids called Lenience, which gives 3% damage reduction to any ally with Atonement on them. So it's
So
kind of like a
broken.
little passive Devo aura
So
that
broken.
also it doesn't require any loss of healing or anything like that. So when it comes to a raid environment, they are blasting tons of burst output in the windows that you need it, and it's gotten easier to do it since you don't have to smite as much during downtime anymore to get your pet back. Your pet is there at very consistent moments. There's no pet cooldown reduction, which is something I know Nick was really, really hoping for last race. So they finally got that, which is awesome. And in keys, most of the deadly damage profiles are burst AoE, which Disc excels at. And since you get a lot of cooldown reduction from haste with your Mind Blast, which helps your hero talent, you also just have really consistent uptime with it. So even rot damage is not as deadly anymore.
Okay, so I have one counterpoint. So recently,
Okay.
kind of the criticism on Disc has been Disc has always been the really good big bursty ramp healer, but since the introduction of the talent trees, there's so many healers that have strong ramp cooldowns that it's made Disc's ability to ramp less unique. Do you still feel
Right.
like that exists in this tier, or do you think they stand alone?
You're absolutely correct that it's not as unique anymore, but tuning is just so in favor of Disc that like Prez obviously was super highly tuned to Nerebar and was able to set up ramps more easily.
Yeah.
Now Disc has a lot of favorable fights where you're not as punished for the movement since they changed around your pet, and you just do better healing than Prez does in raids at the moment, and you bring barrier and you bring lenience. We could talk about healer damage, but you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also, I mean, last year, like, people were down on Disc because you didn't bring them, but Disc, in my opinion, was actually better than Holy last year. It was just, didn't make sense to bring Disc with Prez. Like, Prez was just a better Disc at everything Disc did, and Holy complemented Prez, so you just didn't play it.
Yeah,
But yeah, that
exactly
makes sense. Okay, so
I mean,
is Disc Priest in the Mythic Plus meta?
100%. Yeah, top of class.
Okay. Is Disc in the Race World first comp, and if so, how many?
I think there's of like the later bosses, you know, the boss fights that matter. There's like definitely one arm bandit, and I think there's potential for Muggsy to have some double disc action. So I would say 5 big booms.
Oh my god! 5 big booms! The first one. Holy shit. Alright, turn that shit up.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, I heard it. Oh, jeez, you fuck. That was 4. Gee, okay. All right. What about Resto Druid?
All right. God, what is Resto Druid good at? No, I mean it's got a flatter ramp healing profile than Disc does in a raid environment, which is always cool. So you can have some kind of more consistent healing than a Disc Priest would have, which has very narrow ramp profiles. You do a ton of healing at one moment, then you stop. Druid has quite a bit more sustain than that, which is nice. They made some changes to mastery in 11.1 so that you could heal more when it comes to lower stack counts out of your mastery hot. So your regrowth actually does something if it hits a target with rejuve and like spring blossoms or something, instead of doing like nothing at all, which is nice. So you actually have some decent spot healing when it comes to raid healing, and it's not just Holy Priest. Obviously, Mark of the Wild's great. They are not so dependent on cooldowns to do good healing in a 5-man environment, which is awesome because there's a lot of varied burst healing profiles.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you go like rot into additional AoE. Sometimes there's nothing and there's just big burst AoE. There's a lot of bleeds in the dungeon pool, which also makes it really beneficial to have good spot healing. So a lot of good stuff there.
Okay. Do you think Resto Druid is in the Mythic Plus meta?
Yes, I think it's just above Mistweaver.
And then like interchangeable for Disc Priest based on whatever DPS you bring.
Maybe.
Or do you think Disc
PI,
is just better?
PI is really good.
Yeah, you get a PI from
I think-
Shadow Priest though.
You could. If Shadow is really good, then 100% our Druid would be able to pop off.
Okay, W. And
Yeah.
will Resto Druid be in the Race to World first comp? This is tricky.
I don't know. If Disc gets any like nerfs or something, I'd say yeah. I think it is on like the bubble. It is like very, very close to being a lock in World First, but I would say not quite yet.
Well, I think the weird thing with there's a few specs really. Like Holy Paladin has been like this historically, or not been like this historically because it's like always brought. But like Resto Druid and Mistweaver and a few of them like non-priest healers and non-prez. It's like okay, whether they're in that Race to World first comp or the top healer comp, they're the fourth of the 4. And it's
Right.
like depending on how good the DPS and tank specs are for that. So it's missing a lot of information. Like for example, Resto Druid on its own merit might not be good enough in any given raid to be top 4, but you might bring it. I mean, we did this on Sarkareth, I think. We brought them on Sarkareth, and they were not one of the best 4 healers, but Moonkin and Guardian Druid were so bad that you just didn't want those, so you made do with Resto. So it's hard to answer a few of these because of that. But okay, where's Resto Druid on the list?
Oh, it's definitely A. Yeah.
Ooh, solid. Okay, so all the healers so far are looking very good. All right, let's talk.
You could probably put it behind Mistweaver. Yeah.
All right, turn it up.
All right, we don't have too much left to go.
All right, fuck yeah.
All right.
All right, here we go. So we got Yeah, I want a wide run. Okay, so let's get. So we have 3 more healer specs. So Pres Evoker.
Yeah.
What is this thing good and bad at? We just got off it being maybe one of the most broken healers of all time. What's it look like right now?
Right. And afterwards, they really bodied its burst healing, and it was kind of struggling to find a place as where it's going to go. They made some changes to Flame Shaper specifically, and made it so you're actually getting some cooldown reduction for, I believe it's your breaths after you're casting your engulfs, which is a big part of like your ramp profile. And so it's going to get a little bit better in that regard, but it's still nowhere near as close as it was or as powerful as it was in Nerebar Palace.
Okay. What
so it's like good ramp healer, but also with the fact that they're going to bring different evokers, you're not really getting into a situation where you're like, oh, we would bring this because we need type spiral or something along those lines. It would have to be doing so much healing or do healing better than Disc Priest to really find its like niche in a world first environment.
Okay. What about Mythic Plus?
It requires so much work to do good healing in M Plus compared to other specs. It's pretty annoying. You have so much combo gameplay that you have to set up, so many different ways to do it, which is fun. But if you just compare it to like a Disc Priest who hits like 2 or 3 modifier buttons, hits Radiance, does damage, you heal. There's so much more that you have to set up, and it feels like a lot more work to do good healing. Your ceiling of healing is high. It's just very, very punishing, even more so than Disc Priest in dungeons, to do good healing consistently.
Yeah, that makes sense. And also, I think raid buff is an issue. Just like whatever
Right.
a Pres Evoker brings to a dungeon, you're already most likely bringing in an AUG, at least historically, and you're not bringing like a really powerful raid buff, which is, I just feel like raid buffs in dungeons are just such a problem. But
Yeah.
okay. So I asked if it's in the Mythic Plus meta. You said probably not. Will you be playing a Pres in the Erased World First comp?
Almost certainly not, as it stands right now. Yeah.
Okay. So where does this go on the list?
I guess I'd probably put it around a C. Yeah.
Okay.
It can do good healing in 5-mans, and it does way better healing than Holy Priest does in 5-mans. But it's also just, if you're working this hard, why aren't you playing like something else if you want to like push really big keys?
Cause fun.
Something along those lines. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Woo! All right, we have 2 more. We have Holy Paladin and Resto Shaman. Is that thing up at the top? You are fucking walking right now. You are walking.
One sec.
You are walking big time.
There we go.
All the way. Let's
Gotta
fucking
lean
go.
in.
We got 2 more.
All right.
Yep. All right. Holy Paladin.
What do we got?
Holy Paladin.
Stinker spec.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, stinker spec.
Okay. So not very good. They don't have what? They don't have good spot healing, cooldowns. What about them stinks?
They don't do good healing. And you know, Devo Aura does not make up for that, or Aura Mastery does not make up for that. There's so many encounters where you can stack up for big raid-wide damage, which lends itself to, you know, like Disc or, you know, I don't think you bring Shaman, but, you know, Spearlink would be better or something like that. The spec just needs to do more healing than it currently does. That's just about it. They have no good niche. Paladin, as you know, was dropped for Kaveza because the healing profile, oopsie, it just stopped.
It's fucking started
the
up
healing
again.
profile of like, yeah. Healing profile out of Kaveza, for example, was really good stacked healing. And then that was something that Prez just did all of. And then when it came to actual spread healing in the intermission phase, you were getting not really much value or not really much output or anything along those lines for those intermission phases. So you didn't really have any sort of extra benefit for bringing the Paladin to the table. There was no extra point to it. And unless they make it just do almost equivalent healing with everybody else, or they fix some of the healing profile issues with like Herald only doing good healing when everyone's stacked, I don't know. Like it just feels like it's lost.
Okay, yeah. Well, I would ask if it's in the Mythic Plus meta or how many in the Race World First comp, but it sounds like it's not in any of those things.
Neither, yeah.
Yeah, where would you put this on the list?
Like a D, yeah.
Oh, not Walmart?
You know what? I'd put it at Walmart. I would put it at Walmart.
Let's
actually.
go. It's
Yeah.
Walmart tier. Fuck Walmart. All right, Resto Shaman.
One last thing for Pally before we swap over.
Mm-hmm.
One big reason why certain specs are good right now in dungeons is because their talents can scale really well in 5-mans. They even made it so specifically Atonement scales in 5-mans. Mistweaver has like lightning that you're really only running in a 5-man environment. Druid can stack up their hots with their mastery to blast tons of healing on 5 players. Paladin doesn't have anything like that, and it extra feels like you are just getting gapped by like large amounts as you start going into heal check fights over 12s.
All right. Stay small, Holy Paladins. All right, Resto Shamans.
All right, hang on.
You're getting a workout. This is good. Yep, turn that shit the fuck up. Turn it up.
All right. This is the last one, right?
This is the last one. You're almost there.
All right. Set up to max.
Oh my god.
All right, let's do it. Resto Shaman, also one of the Lost Boys. Raids, trying to think about what it's actually good at. They got rid of Primordial Wave, and they replaced it with a talent that causes your healing waves to cleave onto Riptides all the time now, which is good for, low to moderate sustained damage over long periods of time, which is not at all rating in 2025, nor even close. There isn't this like reward for good efficiency. It's a reward for like burst output. It's a reward for damage reduction. And Slink's fine, but Barrier's better in all the different environments where you would use Slink. The burst output is just kind of mediocre. Where it really shines at is like spread healing. And we saw that on Kaveza again, where you had players spread out to the 4 winds, Ascendants could pop off. There's not really those fights in the last 3-ish encounters, 4 encounters that we tested. So, I don't know. In Keys, it's pretty fun, but it's very resource bound, where your healing stream totem, once you kind of run out of healing stream totems to take advantage of, your output just kind of flattens out pretty hard, and you're stuck spamming surges to try to keep people alive, try to take advantage of downpour. But there's other specs that gap it in high keys, and it doesn't really have anything it super excels at in raid.
Yeah, it also has the problem of, it's been for the past 4 years, but like there's just other shaman specs that they have a really good raid buff now, right? But it's just like other shamans have been really, really good. Okay. Do you think you see a shaman in Mythic Plus at all?
So
this is top
for
level.
people who are more casual about it. Top end, no.
Okay, and then how many Resto Shamans are in the Race World First Comp?
0.
Well, fuck. Okay, well then it needs to go on the list somewhere. Where does it go?
I guess I'd put it right above Pally at the moment.
Oh, D.
Performs better in keys. Put it at D. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, this is kind of how tier lists are supposed to work, where like you put them all like right next to each other. It looks very even. We like that. All right, cool. All right, thanks for walking with us. Dude, you are fucking moving right now.
Yeah, I'm good.
That is good.
I'm good.
Okay, all right.
When are you getting yours, Max? Come on, I know you would love us.
Huh? Oh, I don't need to do that. Do the walking thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to walk while doing other things that I'm normally sitting for. You know what I mean? Also, I mean, walking's actually pretty good for recovery, but I just like do too much shit. I burn hella calories in a day. Probably don't get a lot of steps
doing
though.
Hockey?
Yeah, I play like 1 to 2 hockey games a day. I burn like over 1,000, close to 2,000 a day, depending on if the games are hard or not.
That's huge.
Yep, W. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Love you, bye.
Thanks.
See you later. Holy fuck, get smoked. All right. So Dorky's not awake yet. Meg just messaged me and said my chat suggested if Jack casts for Team Liquid again to let him use the walking pad for the memes and just never address it. That is a good idea. My bit is when I saw Jack do his when I saw him do his most recent video where he chose to do a tier list while he chose to make a YouTube video while walking, that I just thought it would be such a funny bit for someone to do this but not mention it, but instead of like doing a walking YouTube video, someone should just be full sprinting, like running as fast as you possibly can and struggling to get the words out, but not ever talking about it. Just like nothing's weird or different. Just making a YouTube video here while like totally fucking exhausted. I want someone to do that, not me. I acknowledge it's a good bit. I just don't know who would do it. Dorky says, "Where's Drat?" Dratnos is offline on Discord, and I don't think he's super degenerate enough right now to not be awake. Like I don't like. There's when like PoE thing just released. Wait, someone said a PoE thing did just release. Wait, when? When did the PoE thing come out? Yesterday? Let me check Steam. Dratnos was last online 9 hours ago. And what was he playing? How did you tell? He's definitely sleeping. Dude, it's noon though, as Megaset said. Fuck, dude. I know Dorky's here, but I was gonna have Dratnos do it too. I guess I could just do Dorky and then also bring on other people to talk about it as well. For certain class, actually, I could just have Dorky do it, dude. Kira would be cool as well. I don't know that guy. Dorky being second choice. No, Dorky was not the second choice. Dorky and Dratnos were going to do it together. But unfortunately, Dratnos is not around. And I have to leave in 30 minutes. Hey, we actually are low-key about to do this. What is it? Let Dorky do it, and tomorrow Drat comments on it. Nah. Kira got second in the last TGP. Yeah, I know who I know of Kira. I just don't know him personally. You feel what I mean? That's what I'm saying. I'm not. Yeah, I know. Fuck it, have Tettles do it. I actually have a bunch of DPS I could call right now, but I don't want to do those at the same time. Maybe I could call our new teammate Magnus Carlson and see if he has any takes on tanks. That'd be cool. Magnus kind of smurfed today. Yeah, I don't follow chess, dude. Wait, what is the ta emote? Bro, what is this? Why is this an emote on my channel? What is it? Why is it there? Okay, you guys are not helping me. Tactics? Who the fuck is Tactics? I'm gonna call Dork, dude. Fuck. Yo, do you know who the fuck Tactics is?
There's two tactics. There's the classic tactics, and then there's the tactics who does YouTube tank videos.
Oh shit. Okay. Do you know any other tanks? that aren't Dratnos?
There's Crassus,
I like him.
Yoda.
Crassus is more Blood Decay focused, though, right?
Yeah, he only does bloody K stuff. Yeah, for specifics, I don't really know. I guess there's like Sense, Pro Warrior.
Nah, we're just fucking ripping this shit. Are you a genius? Have you played all the tanks on PTR?
Not to the same extent I normally do.
What are you fucking? Are you casual or what?
Yeah, I mean, you already know. I haven't really been playing as much as I normally do.
All right. Well, if anything,
I mean, I
let's
dabbled
just
on them.
we can just make it up. All
Yeah,
right.
just fucking make it up.
All right. What about warriors? What are warriors good and bad at?
Wait, are we talking about Raid 2? Or what?
This is Raid and Mythic Plus. I'm gonna ask you 3 questions for each. I'm gonna ask what the class is good and bad at, and then I'm gonna ask you if you think it's in the Mythic Plus meta, and then if you think it will be in the Race World First Comp.
All right, you already know with Raid. I'm gonna completely make that shit up. I know.
I fucking love
zero
that.
about this
I
Raid.
love that. I mean, raid tanking is just like you're kind of guessing whether you need the raid buff from that point. That's part of it, but then also if it specifically does a ton of single target damage and is generally tanky is like the main thing.
Yeah, and I would say like it heavily depends on how every other spec's performing, right? Like you're gonna
Correct.
want a Guardian Druid if the other Druid specs are just complete dog water.
That's true, but there's also other things like you've played Guardian Druid in progression 3 times in the last 10 years. So it's like really rare, and like it's usually like every like 5 or 6 years you play it. So it's like they just had their raid, right? So like historically they're not going to be good for a while, but also that means nothing, you know. They could be. All right,
Yeah,
well,
they
what is
definitely have the
Warrior?
roughest spot.
What's Warrior good at? They do
Alright,
big
Warrior.
damage.
Okay. Yeah, Warrior, good single target damage. But for M plus this time around, I think it's gonna be terrible. At least from what I've tested, just because of how brutal the dungeons are. Like so, basically, Warrior's strengths are extremely good, but their weakness are also super glaring. So when you have like bleeds, when you have tons of constant magic damage, like because you only have so many tools to deal with magic damage, right? Like you have spell reflect, you have spell block, then you have your walls, and you run out of that shit real quick when you're fighting stuff that just do constant magic damage.
Yeah.
Like Rixa Fluxling, you know, like Motherload. We're getting Motherload back this season.
Yeah, but they
and
used to be like the
we
best
already know how
Motherload
bad shit
tank
looks.
because they had spell reflect. Does that not work anymore?
Well, no, I mean, they were playable in Motherload, but it was absolute hell. Like
Yeah.
anyone who played back in BFA, like very know, like you could have made it work, but you had to do every possible thing to keep a warrior alive. I remember people were zoning out after second boss. That was like a really common strategy for Pro Warriors.
And then you'd
They
go
would
into
zone out
full
and they were
verse
just like
gear.
specking to. Yeah, like they just put on like all this shit to live the magic damage on the last 2 bosses. But yeah, I mean, unless they adjust the content to Pro Warriors' strengths, I think Pro Warriors is one of the weaker ones. But normally they are really strong. Like they are actually a brick wall when it comes to just taking pure physical damage.
Okay. W.
Yeah, so I'm gonna
Where they go?
this one. I'll give it a C.
Okay, that's good.
It's a little bit sneaky.
That's fine. I mean, it's I don't know,
Yeah.
but at the same time, like a C tier tank could be in the race if like DPS warrior sucks, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's well, that's the other thing too. Like I think right now, Arms Warrior seems really good DPS wise. So I automatically assume that Pro Warrior is gonna suck
Yeah.
in raid.
All right. Fuck yeah. All right, Guardian Druid, you're main. You're a main. You're a bear.
Yeah, that's me. This shit sucks. Its damage is low, but it lives pretty well though. I mean, it's got a lot of defensive cooldowns. It honestly felt good to play, but I just wish it did damage. If it did damage, it would be good. But right now, it's like easily the lowest tank damage. I'm just gonna straight up put it right along C with Pro Warrior. At least it doesn't have glittering weaknesses the same way Pro Warrior does. I'm pretty sure anyone who's playing Bear Tank, they'll probably do just fine surviving any of these dungeons. In fact, it would probably feel really good surviving these dungeons, given how easy Bear Tank is to play.
Oh, I want to point out,
Yeah, I
someone,
mean-
someone in chat also said Prot Warrior highest simming tank at the moment by quite a bit if they can spam execute. I remember having this conversation before every single raid where warriors tuned well, and it's like, well, if we can just have
Yeah.
this tank execute in the last phase, and it's never possible. On like any hard fight, it's impossible to just not tank and execute, and it just never ends up doing that in practical use.
Yeah, I've seen some tank sims. I can pull this up right now. Yeah, like it actually pops off, but like you said, it's not realistic. It's definitely one of those like you're attacking a target dummy type of situation. If
Yeah.
you're doing actual race the world versus tanking, there's like zero shot you're doing remotely this damage.
Yeah, exactly. All right, what about blood DK?
Actually looking a lot better than most people would expect. I think it's because like every other tank didn't really get much and they've gotten weaker relative to Bloody K, so I would say Bloody K is actually one of the better tanks. And given Bloody K's historical performance in raid, it definitely scores high. I'm just gonna say straight up A.
Oh
Like
shit.
an A tier tank. If we're to include yeah, raid as well, because like for M plus specifically, it still suffers from the same problems where you'll eventually get to the point where you just kind of get clapped, right? There's not a whole lot of solution around that as a Bloody K. And it's just how infinitely scaled content is designed for Bloody K. This class just runs out of buttons, and your base mitigation of just death striking isn't going to allow you to survive dangerous pulls at high levels. But they are actually one of the really high damage tanks right now. I mean, we can see in the sims here, and also just in M+. Like, they're one of the few tanks that actually do good damage right now. Like, we all know tank damage right now is pretty garbage. So, it's not going to be M+ meta, but if you're not doing the highest keys in the world, it's actually going to be extremely strong. And I think in raid, it's probably going to be really good too. So I'm just completely making it up for raid.
Yeah. I mean, they've always been good for raid just because you bring a DK for grips and they're just twice as good at it as any individual DPS spec, so you just end up bringing them. Plus, they're always like Blood DK has been. This is why the tank changes at the beginning of the expansion were like really controversial because, like in Mythic Plus, he felt it so much, but in raid, like DK's went from being invulnerable last expansion to like not needing any healing this expansion too. Nothing like they still feel that way, but it's like it's a raid specific damage intake thing.
It's also AMS. Oftentimes you can like
Cheese
not really
shit.
cheese, but like
You can
it
definitely
makes
cheese
it
shit.
so much. Yeah,
AMS is
especially like I
super
remember
broken.
tanking jail or like just being able to AMS of a big tank blast thing is like so OP, and it's on such a short cooldown too.
Okay, you can pick any of these to talk about next. Brewmaster, Prop Paladin, or Vengeance.
Vengeance I think has gotten some of the bigger changes. I don't know why Vengeance got buffed so much and every other tank didn't really get affected. So this is definitely looking like one of Ven Plus tanks. And because all the tanks kind of suck right now, I'm not going to put any of them at 5 big booms. So this one is going to be an A. Also, 5 big booms is kind of ridiculous. But yeah, I'm just going to put it in A.
Okay.
Like probably top of it. Actually, I'll just put an A. Like straight up, yeah, let's put it right there with Bloody K. Because like, if we were to count raid too, like I don't know if I would include VDH in raid. VDH is like rarely seen in raid except for when Havoc is just complete doo doo, and even then, I don't know. I mean, like we occasionally see Havoc over Vengeance. Vengeance is just like not as hot. But yeah, like they buffed Vengeance a lot. They changed some of the hero talents in Eldraki Reaver tree. Right now, there's a talent called Wounded Quarry, which is basically a pure funnel talent. Like we have not seen funnel like this before.
Wait, a tank has good funnel?
For both. Like
Oh,
right now,
for
Havoc
both
and
Havoc and
Vengeance
yeah.
has
Okay,
crazy
yeah.
funnel. Yeah, so
I knew about Havoc.
yeah, the way it works is like whenever you're just like cleaving over targets, it does damage to your main target with the bet you mark with Eldraki. So it just does like pure funnel damage, insanely good in M+. Raid, I can't really say. I don't know. Probably not that amazing, but it is what it is. And we actually have really good self-sustain too. They're one of the higher self-sustaining tanks. Eldraki is really good for that. It generates more souls. It's got increased healing. It also got buffs to make spikes basically perma, and you can take your cheat death plus the talents that the class discords usually recommend. You know how for basically all of Dragonflight, there was a huge argument.
Yeah, the builds for
amongst-
Vengeance DH, right? It was like
Yeah.
every streamer had their own build. The class Discord had like the full throughput, no good abilities build.
Yeah. Basically, you had the bad build, aka what the streamers were playing, like me, Now, and Kira, and like Yoda and all these guys. Like we're all playing the bad build that has like cheat def and stuff. Like cheat def literally does nothing, right? It's for complete bitches.
Yeah.
But that's what the streamers do, and that's what they promote. And the tanks over at the class Discord, they play like the Giga Chad build that just gives them tons of DR, tons of damage, tons of healing. I mean, that's like really good, right? But now you can actually have both. You can. They reworked one of the talents, Feed the Demon, to only require 1 point, and that allows you to take all 3 capstones. So that's kind of OP. You can have cheat def plus the big healing, damage, and whatever tankiness. And yeah, you have perma spikes uptime now too, because they buffed demon spikes by 2 extra seconds for absolutely no reason. So,
Wait, you have
really good
perma?
tank.
You have
Tank
100%
Hunter.
uptime on spikes?
Well, it's close. It's probably realistic, like 80, 90%. But like, given that you play well enough and pulls don't last long enough, it's basically 100%.
Yeah. All right, cool. All right, so you'd put it in A. All right, what about Brewmaster?
Brewmaster hasn't received a whole lot of changes, except for I guess there's one kind of major change. The big one is Celestial Brew. Your cheese stacks it cap at 6 now, and because it caps at 6, each stack gives you more. So that's like a pretty big buff to Celestial Brew, and it actually has felt really good to play. Like you just purify twice, and you'll have a big Celestial Brew. It's like completely different from what it normally is, where you have to like build up a big shield. I'd say it's still Brewmaster. We already know how Brewmasters feel about Brewmaster.
What is
It's
that?
one of
How do Brewmasters feel about Brewmaster?
that the class never gets any changes and that they need help, but Blizzard doesn't give a fuck about Brewmaster. But I've always said that Brewmaster is like more of a raid tank. Like it's almost always been good in raid. So I'll give it that. I'd probably just put it in B, I guess. It's a good tank, honestly. I
B
think
for
it's better than ever
Brewmaster.
before. Yeah, B for Brewmaster.
Let's go.
I would say like in M plus, it's the best it's been in a while. Not that really means a whole lot. And I mean,
I
it's
mean,
always
one
been
of its
raid.
big problems is like even if it was like decently good in Mythic Plus, every slot in Mythic Plus, you'd ideally bring a powerful raid buff, and Monk's raid buff in Mythic Plus is terrible. So it's just you'd rather have anything else if it's not being covered. And tanks bring like insane, like Paladin buff from a tank in dungeons is sick. Druid buff from a tank in dungeons is sick. Vengeance is sick. I feel like that definitely matters.
Yeah, and in M plus, Brewmaster basically feels like a blood DK, except the healer is pushing the death strike for you. Because they kind of just like they kind of pump into the heals, and you receive the heals really well, but you're also taking a ton of damage, and you don't have a whole lot of cooldowns to deal with M plus types of pulls. Like you just run out of shit really quick.
All right, well, what about Prop Paladin?
So this tank was OP for all of season 1, and it got nerfed big time. But it's still definitely one of the best. It's not as good as season 1, so I'd say it's like in contention with Demon Hunter for the meta tank. We don't know exactly what will be the meta tank. I feel like Demon Hunter has a higher threshold. I could be wrong, but I feel like we'll run to a wall where Prop Paladin just can't really survive the same way they can right now. The Tempered in Battle nerf is actually bigger than I think most people will see, because so Tempered in Battle is the talent they added in the 0.5 patch of season 1. It shares. It's basically Spirit Link. You get Spirit Linked with one player in your team. Well, you can have up to like multiple Spirit Links going out. And that, like, even though it kills a lot of DPS, and DPS players always get mad that they're tempered in battle, it actually helps the Prop Paladin live a lot.
Yeah, I was about to
because
say
you're
that
just, like,
sounds extremely broken.
yeah, you're just Spirit Linked with a DPS, and that's actually what makes Prop Paladin live extremely well right now
Yeah.
in season 1.
Dude, that
But yeah, that
that
got
sounds
nerfed.
like something that would be absolutely horrible in raid. Tempered for battle, like I feel like you would just kill people in raid because you don't need to help survive anyone. But like in Mythic Plus, that sounds so broken, especially on some pulls.
Yeah, on some bosses too. You straight up put it on like a boomkin in some rot fight
You put it on
where
the
the tank doesn't take a
squishiest
lot of
class
damage.
in the game.
Yeah, they don't die.
How does that work?
Wait, what do you mean? No, like the boomkin will be living because you're not taking the damage. Like they're taking your health.
Yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
boomkin's taking the tank's health.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
I see how it works. Okay.
yeah, you're spirit linking, right? So, but boomkin becomes unkillable. Like you can just sack one person, you can spirit link another person, and you essentially keep two people alive by yourself as a tank. Actually, really OP. Yeah. So, Prop Paladin, I think will always be one of the better M plus tanks, if not the best,
Kicks and a good raid
just
buff.
because of how good their. Yeah, like I mean, the entire class is a raid buff, right? Like you literally just you have off healing, you've got sack, bop, spell ward, lay on hands. I don't know. The class is just ridiculously good for M plus,
Yeah.
even if it's not the most highly tuned.
I mean, just always
But
had a ton of utility. Also, you could make the argument.
yeah,
So, do you think they nerf Paladin by a lot, but it's still in contention to be the best tank? Would you argue that that's a good way to nerf something? Did it deserve to be nerfed?
I would say so. Yeah, yeah. I mean, what I've always liked about tank meta when it's balanced is when certain tanks have strengths over other tanks. Like I'm thinking back season 2 of Shadowlands where you had Prop Paladin. Prop Paladin was a support tank. It was not as like tanky as like say Bear Tank and large bows, but it was the tank that provided support. And then you had Bear Tank that was really good at big pulls, but outside of big pulls, it kind of sucked. It was kind of nice when tanks had their strengths and weaknesses.
Well,
And right now, it seems like Prop Paladin is like the better support tank, but not as good.
I think
Wise.
something that's really interesting is all the tanks are within 3 like tier rankings, and I don't think that's an accident because in most times where I've had you or someone else do this, the meta tank in the patch is almost always determined by whichever tank RNG high rolls the crazy fucking tier set. And then the tanks that are way lower, it's usually like basically tier sets existing and not being standardized like they are this season for tanks usually creates a much bigger gap in tanks because if you low roll and someone else high rolls, like your class sucks. And that's just not a thing this patch. So it seems like they're all just average.
Well, it kind of is a thing. Like Prop Paladin's their season 1 set is actually really good, but season 2 is like whatever. So
Well, all of their
technically, Prop
ones are
Paladin also got a
whatever.
nerf
Oh,
in
you
their
mean
set.
yeah? So you mean
If going from
it's-
1 to 2.
Yeah, going from 1 to 2. But I'm saying, imagine 1 never existed, and you're purely just ranking them in 2 as if you did not just get done playing a patch. I feel like tanks are just naturally going to be closer to each other because they had the potential. Tank tier is so much more powerful than DPS and healer tier ever has been when they roll well. And no one really got that this patch. They're all mid. So because of that, all the tanks just feel closer than they usually do.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, well, Demon Hunter actually has one of the better sets right now, but aside from that, yeah, they're all relatively the same.
Yeah, it's basically like whichever one, like of all the cooldowns you could proc with that tank tier set, like which one is the most impactful in the moment? It's probably meta, right?
Yeah. But yeah, like right now, I'd say most of the tanks are equally stinky.
Well, the tank Prot Warrior could be really
That's
good if it can execute the full time.
Yeah, yeah, it looks really good.
I'm sure that'll work. You could definitely do, especially Mythic Plus too. Just like fucking execute.
Yeah.
All right, W. Thanks, Dork. Did you just wake up?
All right. Maybe like almost an hour ago.
Do you have a treadmill?
No, but I actually thought about getting one of those. They're called
Oh
walking
my
pads.
god.
Dude, everyone's been getting them recently. Like I know Nagura has one, Jack has one, and I was like, man, this could be kind of useful, but I don't know how much I'd be using it. And also, I heard you have to like constantly grease it up, and it can smell like fucking fire. I don't know. I've heard some pretty bad reviews. On
Like
some of
it
these
can
walking
catch
pads.
on fire?
I mean, not like it might not catch on fire, but like it might smell like it. You know what I mean?
Smell like something's on
Smell like
fire?
fucking
Well, it's probably on
rubber
fire.
burning. Well, yeah, maybe there's like some contraption inside that might not be functioning
Okay, I have to run.
but
I have to
as long
run.
as you don't blow up and die.
I have to run a bit by you. So you know the video that Jack put out on the internet where he's walking the whole time during it?
Yeah.
Okay, I want you to do that, but you don't stream yourself. You're a cat, just like usual. But like, it's obvious from the audio and the video that you are sprinting the whole time and you're exhausted and out of breath. But you never refer to why. People are just like listening to it, and the comments are like, "Why is he so out of breath?" But we'll know that you were sprinting.
I'm never exhausted.
Oh, what? What do you
That's
mean?
right.
Like you could just keep running and you'd never get exhausted?
Yeah, I'm cardiovascularly built diff.
Holy fuck.
No, I would probably get winded in like fucking 5 seconds.
Dude, holy shit. Okay. All right, cool. That sounds good. All right, thanks for the input, buddy. Remember to blow up.
Yep.
Bye-bye. All right. Oh. Are we excited? Are we excited? Reptar. Oh, row, 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 row. Reptar. Oh. Talk to him, buddy. Talk to him, Reptar. Rah, rah. Reptar. Oh, row, 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 row. All right. Okay. I have to go do a photo shoot thing at TL. But tomorrow we're gonna be filling out the rest of this with all the DPS classes. So the vast majority of it is still remaining. But if I did it all in one day, I would want to blow up, like actually blow up. So we'll be doing this tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Remember.